David, it's a pleasure to be here at Logica, just outside Bologna. So why should customers invest in Logica products?
Customers should invest in Logica products because Logica is offering something a printer would need. A connection that is not driven by human between their production and their MIS or ERP, so that data can travel up and down and they know exactly what's happening in production.
If we look back to before computers, right? I think that the workflow, as we know of today, it was very much paper-driven, right? And the history of Logica was also based on your owner Roberto, who was working in a printing company and identified a lot of bottlenecks or potential bottlenecks, right?
That's it. The fact is that he was technical director of a large print shop here in Italy, and he was feeling the need to have data that was not absolutely handled by people. So that direct machine to MIS, so that to extract all data that was useful for the company.
When you think back on the story and how that worked in the old times, I was wondering, that was the norm at that time, right? So what Norbert did and started identifying this and see if it could be put into a computer system, that was something that was relatively groundbreaking, wasn't it?
It was, and we were at the very beginning with JDF also. But the point is that the MIS were not prepared to accept a JDF connection at that time, and the place where it was working was absolutely not JDF MIS. So he had to find out a different way to reach machines from MIS to travel data up and down. So that he found a different way that was get connecting to the machine in a physical way. So that we could transform the analog data into electronic data and digital data. And our job order at that time was a digital job order already, what is conventional today, but it was not at that time.
I am curious about that, but I have a few questions before we get to the software and what it is you do. Because the reason why it's important to have the data is because this industry is very much pricing both its cost base and selling price based on timing, right? So it's crucial that if you have an operator where you have a paper break, if you have an operator that goes for a cigarette, if you have an operator for some reason not effective on the machine, that influences the entire cost base, right?
It is, and you would not discover it until the time you see it personal, but you cannot expect to be present into the plant, and usually you shouldn't do that. The point is that you know it when you have to take do a line and see the calculation, you know. So in this way, what was crucial for us was to bring, let's say, correct data in a way that could be useful. And so that it can be easy to get access to that, to see everything in time. So you need to be, it's like if you from remote have your eyes into your production continuously. Yeah.
And that is of course today almost the standard, but it is not, because there's still like a lot of printing companies that, I mean, still they have been more and more processes are automated, more and more processes of course using computers, but there's still like a lot of analog processes in most printing companies, right?
Although the point is that when you get into a plant, normally you have different technology type from different time, and the system that MIS normally uses, which for example is JDF, is perfect, but it is not covering the entire plant in the age of machines, in their different type of job, making no sense to equip a low-cost machine with that. And so in this case, what we do is that we provide a complete control on every machine, despite from the brand of the machine, the type, the age, and the fact that it is a cheap one like a folder or a die cutter or a windmill machine or something like this, you know.
That must be a bit of a challenge to develop that entire flow, right? So how did you get, I mean, one thing is that Norbert, he started to identify this as an issue, but from there to become a software company and now being a global supplier of the control software and what you also refer to as a data bridge, where you convert the signals into something a computer understands. I mean, can you talk a little bit about the journey from how it got started to where you are today?
If I look back to it, I must say that the great capability of Norberto was to find out the right people to get closer, to share the idea, because it was really very much on the emotional side, meaning that there was 2-3 people working together in that plant I told you before, and they shared the idea. I joined the group at that time, and we see the potential, you know. So it was a growing. We were involved with a project with a very important machine manufacturer, German machine manufacturer. It was really an experience, a challenge, but it helped us to develop everything that was really exactly what the customer was looking for. So very user-friendly, and especially you need data, but the important thing is you need to use the data, have a smart system for using the data. The point is, we were doing that with one MIS, but then we wanted to reach all the other MIS and the ERP that the customer were using at that time. So the only situation was to develop, and this is, in my opinion, the key point, a data bridge, which is a piece of database that we can simply ask our customer to drop into his own MIS, which is allowing our interface to be absolutely interactive with the MIS bidirectional way.
My first question was, of course, a little bit harsh, because I asked why customers should invest in Logica, and I think your answer was very good, but I think also that you missed a little piece in that equation, and that was maybe that the competition in the printing industry is more fearful than ever. And I think that the need of data in order to be precise and deliver on time and have zero faults and all these kinds of things is very important, of course. So my next question is, like, let's say now I'm a PSP. I have invested in Logica, and what do my company look like after investing in Logica? I mean, what is the output?
The output is that the first important thing is that having a direct connection on any machine or each machine of your plant, and having the possibility to catch up what is the interruption of production anytime it happened, which is not even caused by the machine itself. It is helping you to find out in a very easy way all the reason and all the bottlenecks you have into your processes, which are not caused by the machine itself. So this is helping you to better use your machine. Maybe you have invested a lot of money into a new technology, like we have customers that recently made investment with the latest technology of the vendors, machinery vendors, and of course they want to have 100% usage of their machine.
Of course.
But then they do not know why the machine is supposed to work, but it is not. So what we know now by our interface is that by selecting the reason or detecting the reason why the machine is not working, for example, is waiting for plates remaking, maybe is waiting for a job order to come. But if you don't know, you cannot change the process that is the reason just to happen. And this is what we do. We give a precise picture of what is happening beside the machine or beyond the machine, so that you can put in place any strategy to change this to something that is going smoothly, a better process.
So investing in Logica basically means that you both get input that is very valuable from a production management perspective,
right?
But you also get something that is extremely important from an operational perspective in a more broader sense. So the management in the company, when they do investments in the future, they can say, okay, here is a bottleneck. We could invest in either people or technology that can help sorting this. Is that how it works?
It is, but further to that, you can also help your people growing. Yeah. Meaning that if you know exactly
to become more efficient with the machines they have.
More efficient, absolutely, more efficient, to have the more knowledge. We found out that, for example, they were shifting a company that were working or giving different profit or having different reason for stopping the machine, and you would never know it if you don't have a possibility to gather those data. And customer could put in place some more structured instruction for their team, for the team that was not, let's say, on the level. And this is making also an important return on the investment of the company. Another thing I want to point out, respect to what I said before, is that we have made a measure. And we can say, we can provide the saving, or let's put it this way, we can help your machine working or having more space for accepting additional jobs in the same condition of your machine, the same condition for plant, up to 26%.
Wow. And that is simply by getting the data, because you can then start planning your jobs better.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you make your process smoother, if you help your team working better, if you can put in place, for example, some awards for those who are working better, or whatever you want. The fantasy is your limit, you know. So if you see it in a positive way, this is giving a lot of money back to your company, but also is helping your company matching more the Industry 4.0 compliancy, which is a really actual situation.
Yeah, definitely. And when you say Industry 4.0, I can't help think about that when you talk about getting the data from the machines and the conversion that you have to do from all different kinds of machines of age and all the things you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I can't help think about that. I think a lot of PSPs out there now are thinking about Industry 4.0. And when we talk about JDF and we talk about also IoT and we talk about all these data points of integration, would you say that when you invest in a Logica, I mean, because as I said to you before we started the interview, I said to you, it sounds like you are doing the same thing as IoT, but you have just done it way earlier. Is that a comparison just for people to understand what Logica is?
Yeah, in real we have done far before, because the need has always been there. Yeah. So today the big limit is that JDF, that was a real innovation at that time, now is very costly. Yeah. And also there are machines that can never match that technology. So you need to have a you need to have a system that is helping you achieving or upgrading your plant and matching the standard that you need to do to face a competition for your company that is no more local, it is international-wise.
So let's say that I'm interested in this. Let's see that I see this interview and then I think this is something for me. Is it always something that you buy through the machine vendors, so it's part of the machines you invest in, or can you be contacted and then it's also a project for a big company? And one more question in the same line, is it only for the bigger ones or is it for everybody?
No. This is for everybody. It's clear. It is even more for everybody than, for example, GDF, because it is also more convenient or less expensive, let's say, and more covering more situation. We have customer with 2 machines only. We are following industries. One of our most important customer is a company called Rotolito Lombarda here in Italy. They are controlling from one single place, the headquarters, 7 plants spread everywhere, and from the headquarters they can simply do a click and have a complete knowledge of what is happening in real time on every machine. To each job is running from every operator on any of the 7 plants they are having into the group. So this is, in my opinion, the great value, that the ownership is having his own eyes on production, although nobody knows it. So people is working normally, and they can have a complete information. You are a customer on the phone with a customer that is asking for his job. Where is it? When is going to end? You do not need to pick up the phone. You simply click and have all the breakthrough of the job of your customer. Where is it? What's the stage? What's happening? When will it be ready? Is it in printing? In the binding department is already finished? That's it.
Yeah. One of the things that you said before, which I found quite interesting, you said that you just have that code or that database that you put into your MIS system.
Yeah.
That sounds like that you can use any MIS system, right?
Yeah, this is one of the important factor. We had to adapt ourselves to the customer. We don't want the customer to adapt to ourselves. That's the point. So the piece of database is made in the way that we can drop it into, for example, just to make example of something that is out of our market, is AS400 system or SAP system, which is typically difficult to get reached. And now we have plants working with this system. For example, Rotolito Lombarda is having AS400 on top, and everything is connected via Logica.
Must be a nice reference name to throw, right?
It is, absolutely, because also they are fan of what we have done. And also one thing that I like to tell you is one of the main reasons they are also promoting ourselves is that they see our team as a very valuable support for ad hoc development.
I mean, so basically that, and what you say is basically that let's say that you are an MIS provider that wants to have that functionality. They can reach out to you, and then you can support them in developing that service integrated into the MIS system, right?
It's already done. You simply see what it is, and you can add it to your MIS. It is adding a lot of data and features. I give you a very quick example.
Yeah, please.
We have a system that is already embedded into our software that is giving a very easy business intelligence mode, so that this can be connected to an MIS vendor, original, in the way that we can fit the business intelligence of the MIS, and the MIS is having a very most complete vision and data of the system itself. And the most important advantage of this is that the customer can have a clear vision of what is the real cost of his product in the company, and can align better to the price he's selling, driving the margin and understanding what is really happening into the plant on the costing point of view.
And that is, that continues to be a huge challenge for a lot of printing companies, because you have maybe hourly rates that is based on full cost models, but full cost models only work if you have the right data and you have them instantly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is what you're saying. This is basically that with if you use the full cost models in your pricing or in your cost base, basically Logica is supporting data that can give you. Is it like a real time?
It is. But let's make it easier. MIS. Get concentrated in developing all the, let's say, sales side, the products, the offer, the generation of job order, and those
integration
stuff.
Integration to web to print systems and things like that.
That's right. And then once they knew about JDF, they developed JDF, so they are most focused to use the JDF. But the point is always what I said before, is that you live outside of the circle the greater part of the company, because I'm sure that the majority of our customers have a great part of their machinery that is not compliant. So when we have our system into an MIS, we have a clear vision of the entire company, and we can drive data and make them available for the customer in the easier way possible.
And does that also comes to like the binding equipment, the guillotines, the everything?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything is in. As I told you, this I like to tell to give a simple example. The older machine we connected was a Heidelberg windmill.
Yeah. Fantastic, right?
I don't want to mention other brand, but let's say that we are installing on the latest KBA 106X machine here in Italy to a customer that said, I like everything from KBA, but I want Logica to get this machine connected to my MIS because I have real-time connection and I have real-time data, breakthrough reason of everything is happening to a machine like this.
Fantastic. So you don't have any competition, right?
Let's say that on one side we don't, because there are companies doing something similar, but where we work very much was on making easy interfacing for the operator. So we are not working on, you know, bars, you know, cakes or those things, which is difficult to understand and to work out. This is good for the management, right? Yeah. But operator sees a very easy interface with the job name. He can select the job he wants to load on the machine. He has a clear picture of detail about the job he is running, what is made of, the components, everything. And there's an additional thing. There are areas where, for example, operator can simply select the reason for the stoppage, which is not detectable by the machine because maybe is from outside, like plate remaking. But they can also send messages saying, for example, I am not performing the right speed because I have problem with paper, I have problem with ink, I have to change a blanket because the blanket is gone, exploded, so I have to replace it. This is not detectable.
But that is like fantastic. So I mean, and that leads back to the thing I asked you in the beginning, that it's both for the management and for the production, basically, what Logica is supplying, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So David, final round of question, maybe 1-2 questions left. You just moved to a new headquarters, so everything what we see today is so new that we have decided to do an interview where it's just you and me talking, right? How is things going business-wise, and where do you see yourself and as a company in the future?
Business is going very well, meaning that we are getting orders from the inner market continuously because our system is very much appreciated, and it is not only promoted by ourselves, but it is promoted by our customers. So is the message coming from one printer to another. And this is very important because it is giving you a different position, let's say.
Of course.
And we are working to go outside, of course. So we are working on the international market. We have installation in China.
Fantastic.
Speaking Chinese, meaning that the interface is Chinese writing. We have installation in everywhere in Europe. We are working to be closely beside MIS that we see as partner. So we are trying to win a contract with them that they can adopt our solution as their own. As we have done with, I can tell it because it is official, with Omet, for example, as a machine vendor. So we have a direct connection with Omet machines, nothing additional, no PLC, no anything. We are working together with them. So we gather all the data from their own machine, we display it, we make it usable, and it is there. And they decided that this is so valuable system that they wanted to adopt it for all the machines they are selling. So every machine from September on will be delivered with Logica data production, this is the name, on board.
Congratulations. Must be nice to be in your shoes right now, right?
Well, let's say that it's nice to have a team that is really working like a family, that is having the same challenges. Everybody is thinking that is believing very much in what we are doing. We have, what I like to say is that you imagine we have some cooperators that left competitors to join us, because they, although competitors are still telling they are working like a family, and so it is not always true. And here is a really close friendship, you know. This is a big strength, because whatever you do, wherever you go, talking to people, you know, behind you have something different that is not only a company, but is people, persons.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you, Martin.
I hope you enjoyed.
I did,
Okay.
absolutely.
Perfect.